Yeah. So my boyfriend's out of town. So it's been like, I've been on all day, on the computer, walking around, doing my thing. It's great. You don't have to worry about, somebody hearing
Yeah, the
yeah.
last few times I did a challenge, it happened that my son was gone too, and it's just so blessed because you can be loud, throw stuff all over the place,
Yeah, as you can see.
My son's upstairs just like covering his head.
Yeah. But no, it was great. Like I said on the video, it's really good to get different, see different people perform and do their thing. And, for me, it just feels more and more like accepting, I love what you're saying about the gray hair, is my, I love that. It's like, it's so true.
Yours is beautiful, Gail.
I know, it's stunning.
Well, this son, and nothing to do with, not exactly to do with what we're talking about. I have struggled with this because I made the decision not to diet anymore. And so just getting back to doing my work and those kind of things, I've struggled because it's kind of two-toned right now and it doesn't, to me, look very professional. But then I decided, you know what? Authenticity. Here we go.
Yeah.
And so, but I'm getting it cut super short, like pixie short on Saturday.
Oh my gosh.
Like shorter than mine?
I don't know. I mean, however short it takes to get this stuff cut out of there.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Wow. Well, good for you.
Maybe I'll check it out. We'll see. I
Yeah,
don't really have the face. I have kind of like a, big nose, big face. I don't really have the face to totally carry a short haircut. So I'm a little, maybe I'll buy a wig.
Well, Paula, I went through the stage of doing just gray, and how I did it was I just did some streaks, just to bring it in naturally. And then eventually I let it go completely. But then I got single at some point, and then that, that judgment came in, like, how are you planning on attracting somebody with the gray hair? Now, Gail, you look fantastic. I mean, that is stunning.
It is stunning.
Thank you.
She's actually one of my inspirations. I think about, will I look as good as Gail?
You will, because you have like a white going on.
That's what I was going to say. It's like a white, as opposed to that's like, I mean, everything is beautiful, but
I like the salt and pepper a lot.
Yeah.
Well, then have your hairdresser do salt and pepper all the way down.
That's what I think I'm going to do, is have just like, I don't really want the dye on the top of my head, the chemical. And so I think I'm going to just kind of, catch a few of those in there, just so it can, whatever, have some.
Yeah.
Especially
so it's a transition that is less drastic.
Yeah.
So anyway, so that's so I want to answer some questions though. I know Gail's here too, and tomorrow she's going to speak to sort of some self-care stuff, some process stuff, So did you have any, I know you were trying to figure out about doing a challenge. Didn't you bring that up?
Yeah, you talking to me?
Yeah.
You talking to me? Yeah, well, I do have a Facebook group, Professional Women Thriving Anxiety Free.
I saw that. Yeah, I joined it.
Yeah, great. It's about 269 women right now, which is great considering it's only been a few months. Good job. Thank you. And I need to do something to engage them more, than they are right now. So a challenge, is one of the options. Can you think of something else that's not as intense work-wise? I mean, I throw them questions every once in a while, and they engage with that. But
you could do like little mini challenges. Like I
Yeah.
have found this challenge format that I use to be the most engaging and the longest standing engagement tool. So even though it is work and it is tiring, you see, I bring other people in to help me out now. Like, come on, Gail, come on, Peter. Why
That's an-
not? They bring their audiences. It's more fun. I do, make all the slides but I also have Pam, and so that's helpful.
Yeah.
But that is so much nicer to do that. And I I can't I have done little mini challenges, like if you're on my 10K in 5 days Facebook group, I just issued a challenge that said, here's a challenge for you. Share some of the business tools that you use regularly. We all rise together. And a couple of people went live and talked about that. But it's the reason that they did, though, is because of the culture of the challenge that I put together. They wouldn't have done it either way. So for me, that's the best one, is going live too, going live regularly. If you go live regularly, I'm seeing now, there are times where you'll get on there and you'll be just talking to yourself or talking to one person that, drops in and then is not interested and leaves. And you're like, oh my God, am I boring everyone? All that. And that's going through your mind while you're talking. But now that I do regular, and I have followed the Mark Lax things about doing the 1-minute videos, and that has really, really increased my the number of the people that I'm involved with and the people's interaction. They like the little short things.
Our attention span is so
Well, and I love what he says about, and I'm going to teach to this actually in my course, the Mind Your Own Business course, that what I started my own another page, a Paula L. Boland page, from scratch to see how fast this stuff would work to grow it. In 2 days, I have 50 followers.
wow.
It's my experiment. Now, a lot of you guys know me. And so, you go over there and I say, well, you like me. So that's part of it. But yeah, it's growing very quickly. And I'm using, and so I'm using as an experiment to tell people, this is what I did. This is what I did. This is what I did. As Mark Lack is like a billionaire and he can throw money at all this stuff, but I'm trying to do it organically.
Mhm.
Right. And just see, just here I am from scratch. This is what happened. Right. So, 2 or 3 things I would say. The challenge, if you can, just kind of think about that. Keep the concept small. Don't teach too much. And of course, you want it to lead into something. So that is really good. It does take, I'm doing 3 days now. It doesn't take as much energy as 5 and all that. It does take some work, but it's really great return on investment.
Yeah.
We almost always, Gail's on my team, so we almost always come up with a new idea we could present and what else could help people through this, because you get that feedback by them going live. Not every challenge has people go live. That is going to really, 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 if I could teach one thing that's been my outtake of this experience that I did just because something inside my heart said, have people talk to each other somehow. And it was the thing to do. I have not been in a challenge that gets as much connection ever that ours does. I think we're known.
Let me ask you something. Do you think it's the live itself, or do you think it's you and the way you present and the way your energy is so great and you're articulate and,
I don't know. I think what I hear people talking about the longest, and maybe Gail, you say this, is how they talk to each other. You're going to remember Ron, and I hear people, sometimes I'm like, oh, well, did I even do anything that was of value? Because people are talking about what they learned from each other so much,
Mhm.
and what I've come to know is that it's not it's me bringing people together. That's the connection is what I'm born to do, right? I mean, you hear people coming on here all the time. Paula said this, Paula gave me this, Paula, and that's what that's my purpose. That's what I've been born to do. So, but I really think that it's more the people than it is me. I mean, I could probably stand up here as long as I said it with enthusiasm and kept people entertained, told jokes the whole time. And if I asked people to connect about a topic, they would learn tons and remember it. They still, I mean, you saw him today. I mean, Rich killed me that he came on at 5 a.m. and from Japan. That's a following. But you saw everybody, hi Rich, hi blah, 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 and they're all talking to each other because that they have, if we ever get together live, I mean, this is going to be, this is going to be Love Fest 3000. I mean, just this group that just is deep. And so I would say, that's a long version answer, but I would say, I think it's worth it in connecting people, and you will have the conversation carry on. So that's the challenge, is like a big level, not awfully huge, not horrible to put on, not horribly expensive. In fact, my challenges don't, the one that I did were 10K in 5 days, Facebook wouldn't even run it because the names they said sounds like I'm promoting multi-level marketing. And so they wouldn't run any ads, they wouldn't promote it, anything. So all of it grew organically through people telling each other and, sharing it and those kind of things. And I did it, I think 2 or 3 times last year, because it was just so good at connecting people. And but this one, we just kind of decided, like, over New Year's, God, everybody needs this, let's just do it. But the thing is, it's kind of a weird thing with advertising for challenges. And Alina, who's the maven of challenges, Alina Vincent, says this too. If you advertise too far out, it's kind of a waste of time, because people won't sign up. It's not like a coaching program or something like that. They kind of wait to see what's going on and what else is there and if they have time and So if you do it too far out, it's a waste. And then do it right. Most of the people for these challenges sign up like today or the day before. I mean,
No kidding.
And even last week we had a conversation. I don't know if we're going to do this challenge because there's no one signed up. And now it's like, today there's like 30 people. So and it'll grow during the challenge if people are engaged. So people tell each other and talk about it and those kind of things. So,
Nice.
yeah. So, that is a really great investment. The other thing to really get engagement going is going live regularly for short periods of time.
Okay.
And I love that. I'm going to give somebody this book tomorrow. It's The 7 Spiritual Laws of Success. And I know you might have read it. I love it. I've read it. I read it for just like every day. I like pick it up and read more, just to remind. I've read it probably 8 times. It's easy, whatever. And like this, I think will be a great one to just go over this 1 or 2 points in 1 minute or less on a Facebook Live. I mean, you could go through the whole book and you'd have like all this content that would be so useful and helpful. So those kind of things are really, I'm going to teach to this stuff. I'm going to teach personal branding because I totally get this. This is my stuff. I love it. And it's not about marketing. It's about having fun. It's about showing up authentically and having fun. Yeah.
And you do that so well.
You know what? If you see me generally, isn't it weird? I mean, don't you think this is weird, Gail? I think it's weird. If you see me generally like coaching, or like if I show up in a group coaching call, or maybe sometimes on my lives, you don't see me show up the way I show up in on the challenges.
Right.
It's so weird.
Well, I remember the first challenge, I was like, oh my gosh, it's Preacher Paula.
I know. Ron calls me that. He calls me PP, Preacher Paula. And I can't, like, I'm like trying to like back up off of it. But it's like, I can't, I gotta.
Pauline, on your passion. It doesn't come across very well.
Do what?
You need to work on your passion. It doesn't come across very well.
So I just let it go. But you don't see me show up like that all the time.
No, no.
It's weird. It just,
Yeah,
the inner
was
preacher comes out.
I was thinking about that, you know, you brought up a point. Does it, because we're talking about authenticity and everything, is it okay to have like different, you know, moods? You know, like when I'm doing the peace process and the IMs in my coaching group, I'm like really calm.
Oh, yeah.
But if I do a live or something, or if I do a webinar, I mean, I can't be that calm. I have to be like animated and then calm. I mean, does that come across okay? Like,
Yeah, I mean, people follow me and I do that too. I mean, I do healing, you know, we do, you know, Gail with me, and Gail does healing. We do entire healing sessions, and I'm certainly not, get your mama. So, you know, I'm, you know, it's peace processing, right? And so, and people follow me. I mean, I do have a formula for, it's not a formula, but I do have an ability and can talk to, and would love to talk to a lot of people on LinkedIn about how do you get customers that are relational, long-term customers, kind of your raving, people say raving fans. I don't know if I want to call that, but it's, you know, how do you get really engaged with people? And, you know, I do that really well, but some of that is doing it small. I mean, I was just on Clubhouse. I don't know if you guys are on Clubhouse. It's kind of starting to get on my nerves a little bit. It's kind of like a, I mean, you can get good, like good information and stuff. It's great for that. But people get in these rooms and they stay there for like 4 hours and, you know, talking about a topic, and I don't have 4 hours to stay. Plus I don't have the patience, you know, and that, but you can get really good stuff, but it's turning into like the power people are all there being all powery, you know,
Yeah.
and
It's all by invitation only. So
yeah. And so, you know, like there's this one room, I just left it. It's Christians in it right now. There's Steve Olsher's running it. Jeff, what's his name? Walker's in there. Christian's in there. It's like they start texting each other and they're all in there and they're all standing there talking, blah, 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 and everybody else is in there listening, but it's like, wait, you know, and to me, that's not facilitating real relationships, you know. Kind of
promoting their stuff and everybody else is on the sidelines.
And they're not really promoting, they are talking, but it's kind of like, I'm the authority, talk. You know, it's not like, let's get, and I think Clubhouse was intended to be people like us, well, and the famous people all being together and having a conversation, just sitting around with coffee, kind of. I think that's what it is tending to be, but it's kind of turning into a, I mean, there's certain rooms that are different. I mean, those big rooms, I mean, how are you going to, you know, you got all the big names in there and all people are going to go in there. Right?
A lot of people are probably too intimidated to speak up. So they just kind of sit there and they listen.
Yeah. And I get that way too. And then I get over it and I say something and, you know, whatever. But if you can get in, but there's thousands of people in there. And so, you know, you can't, it's not as much, you know, as intimate. So back to my point, the smaller groups, even though I would love to show up and have, you know, 1,000 people around me and just have 1,000 people so freaking inspired and just, you know, everybody helping everybody and getting to know everybody. And that's my dream. It seems to me that it happens better in smaller groups. You really want that connection. And so, I'm sorry.
You get more engagement with smaller groups because people feel like they can contribute more as opposed to just being one in a big massive.
And exactly, like I was just talking about in Clubhouse, right? They just listen to you just listen, right?
Yeah.
Your heart's not in it. So, and really, I mean, if we think about it, that's why God put us on the earth 1 by 1, 2 by 2. You know, we come in twins and we're sort of amazed if there's triplets. It's sort of like, we're not walking around in this group of 6 everywhere we go, right? Or 8 or whatever. I used to say that about group homes. It's not natural. Yeah, we access our world 1 by 1 and 2 by 2.
Yeah.
Gail, where are all the birds?
It's nighttime.
Now, when I lived in Hawaii, they did not sleep at night.
Are you, yeah, you and your rooster.
Well, that was Guatemala.
Are you
No.
moving to Hawaii?
Huh?
Are you moving to Hawaii?
Me? No, not right now.
You should. You're moving houses anyway. You should have just moved there.
Yeah, I don't think I gotta get him. Maybe when I don't know where I'm gonna land. When I'm kind of like, I don't know. I don't know where I'm gonna go when the volcano blows. Once my son graduates high school, sky's the limit where I'll end up. And, if I continue to be blessed like I am, my business will be big enough where I can just make, where do I want to
Yeah, yeah.
You can do pretty much everything from anywhere now.
be? Yeah,
The
you
good-
can. Yeah.
The good COVID.
Yeah. And we opened our minds to that. I was telling somebody today here in North Carolina, when it snows, it's like an event, right?
Oh, yeah.
Everything shuts down. Blah. And the kids usually get a snow day, even if there's a threat of it. And
What?
I know.
Yeah, like because there's like 3 feet of snow, everything's open. Yes.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Driving it while it's snowing. When I lived in Michigan, it was that way too. But anyway, so Friday they were supposed to have bad weather, and instead of getting, we're canceling school, we just got this call that said Friday's going to be a remote learning day.
Oh,
So this
yeah.
has brought a new way of being able to sort of not close school and, those kind of things. People, this can stay home and not have to make it up during the summer. We'll just learn remotely. So interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah. What you need, Janine? Are you in social marketing now? Multi-level marketing?
No, so it was funny because I talked to my sister's in Arbonne. So she's been in Arbonne for like 10 years. She's a regional vice president. And a couple of months ago, I was like, oh, maybe eventually I could coach people in your team and blah, blah, blah. And then I kind of forgot about it. And then I was doing a LinkedIn ad and I sent it to Kevin from the marketing team. And he's like, are you able to narrow down your niche some more? And I said, no, I'm not really sure yet what I want to do. And literally that same day, Christian had a group training, and in there, some guy that's like coaching people in network marketing asked him a question, and I'm like, like the little light bulb went on in my head. I'm like, duh! I told my sister about this a couple of months ago, right? So during the holidays, I was like kind of giving it some thought and stuff, and then I had my coaching call with my coach last week. And so he gave me an idea for like potentially doing a group training for people in my sister's team and her sidelines about mindset, mastering your psychology. Because like network marketing is literally all mindset, because they provide you with everything else. So you don't need to, you just need to learn how to do the business, but everybody out because of mindset stuff. And I actually did Arbonne for a few years, and that's one of the reasons why I stopped, is because I was like, no, it's too hard. I suck at sales. I hate it. And, kind of pushed all my buttons. So yeah, so it was almost like, became like a real thing.
You may want to circle with Ron.
Is he
He's in multi-level marketing, but he also has a lot of interest in coaching and he's actually doing some things with another coach, talking about like how to better the process and stuff like that. Not like he knows everything. I mean, he's certainly not a person that says, I know everything. He's just he's a good person to bounce ideas and really open.
Yeah.
So I think that would be really fun for both of you if you wanted to.
Good idea.
It's interesting, because I'm involved with doTERRA too. And one of the things that they say all the time is, network marketing, it's basically like an ongoing personal development, self-development course. Because it totally will push all of your buttons.
All the time.
It's like all your stuff is going to come up, and so, yeah, totally.
Like my sister's upline, who's national vice president, she's still like super insecure, and she's kind of plateaued in her business because she has all this stuff, mindset stuff that she's
Yeah.
kind of, so like
Yep.
at any level in the company, this is
Yep.
stuff, something people can benefit from. You
Right,
know?
right,
Well, I tell you,
absolutely.
and I coach CEOs that are, you know, going millions to, you know, hundreds of millions, and that is issues for them too. I mean, you know, it's
Yeah,
the onion you peel as a human
Yeah.
being, right?
Yeah.
And actually, I mean, I'm just super glad we're doing that this week, because as it's interesting to me, and this is I think maybe an interesting piece for that multi-level marketing, is just before I level up, just before, it's kind of like growing pains. I crash for a little while. I like to go to the dark night of the soul and have
Yeah,
to do
yeah.
soul work, and
Take
you know,
10 steps back, you know,
huh?
you take 10 steps back, all of a sudden you're
Well,
like,
it's like,
no
I
growth.
mean, there must be something in me that's like, all right, here we go. And then it goes, you know, and all that attacks me, right? And I just get that mental attack of, oh, you could, and it's not like I'm thinking, oh, I'm leveling up. It's just there. And then my coach usually reminds me, you're about to level up. Let's just take this as, you know, new opportunities, and just do what you need to do.
Who's your coach?
And it's very interesting to me that happens. And so it would make perfect sense that the CEOs have that and everything. Just as you get ready to level up, you sort of like fighting with change, dealing with things.
I said that to you last time, I think, when we had a group call. I said, it's almost like you do all this work and then something comes up and you revert back to all those insecurities, and you're like, I've done no progress. Nothing has changed. I'm still in the same place, you know, even though it's not true. But that's almost like becomes your mind over time, and you're like, oh my God, none of this is working. It's all this effort for nothing, you know.
And I'm gonna die this way. I'm never gonna have anything. Ah!
Little tantrum, you know.
You guys are talking and it's making me think of a snake. You know
Yeah.
how it sheds its skin?
Oh yeah.
And then it's got this period where it's very vulnerable until the new skin comes up, right?
Yeah.
It's like really scary.
Yeah.
Yeah, some crabs are like that too. Like when they come out of their hard shell, they're like soft and tender for a while until like they basically create their new shell.
Yeah.
Except that they don't get into their minds about it and go, oh my God.
I'm never going to do it again.
I really don't want to grow anymore. Why is this so freaking painful? I'm gonna die this size.
I'll just stay in this cramped little shell. I don't really want to grow anymore.
It's kind of weird because we go, I want to grow, I want to grow, I want to grow, but then we don't want to. We want to just don't want to shed the skin. We don't want to be vulnerable. We don't just want to be. Let's stay in the shell, but grow. How do you do that?
Being a human is such a pain in the ass.
No, it's like this book I really love because it reminds me of how nature has its course, right? And that, you know, we don't know what dogs think or what cows think or, you know, whatever, but it just feels, you know, like they just kind of exist, right? And they're not thinking, oh, how am I going to eat today? Oh, you know, even ones that don't have enough to eat are just kind of living their life. And but we, you know, the whole step of the way kind of don't get into necessarily the flow and trust of how it comes to us. Or there's sections of our life that we do, and then other sections we don't, right? So recently when I had to move, I, you know, it's just crazy. There's just too many pieces for me to fit together, right? And so I just said, okay, universe, okay, God, I don't want to be all stressed out about this. I'm stressing out about enough things. You handle it, whatever happens, I'm going to see. I mean, I'm not even going to make a game plan. I'm just going to follow the threads and just, you know, whatever. And stuff wasn't working out. There wasn't anything available. And I was just like, stressing out. I don't know. I'm just not, you know? And then I got this call like 2 days before Christmas, randomly, that this person that is a person that I know and another friend knows had just put her place for rent, which is extremely nice place in an extremely nice neighborhood. And it's less than I pay, taking care of this place. And so I called her, I was the very first one, and she just, it all worked out, it was done.
Nice.
I mean, there's still a couple of pieces that, and I was like, yeah, see what happens when you just surrender it, but then get me with money, get me with my business, whatever. And I get in there and so it's very interesting. And I try to use those lessons to remind myself, it's okay. Wherever you are is wherever you are, and it's going to be all right. It's been all right so far. Remember the house, remember the wind.
Yeah.
And yet we never seem to remember those things when we really need them. Then we're all like, no, it was a fluke. It just kind of worked itself out. It was like coincidence. We don't really think.
What I love is having people like you around me that remind me, I have Gail in my life. I have, I mean, that is why this connection and community is so freaking important. Yeah.
Well, we're very happy to have you, Miss Paula.
Very happy to be with you. Thank you.
Yeah.
What else? Anything else? Who's presenting tonight, Ilya? There's a guest, right, with Mark?
Yeah, I don't remember. You want me to look it up?
Nah.
R or something?
No, I'm tired. See how long I last.
Yeah, that guy is really amazing, actually. Mark, very articulate.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, he's. I mean, the last one we did, it was what, 2 hours or something, and he was on the whole time, like just blah 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 blah.
Mark or the guy that was the YouTube guy?
No, the other guy. Sorry, Mark. Yeah, it's Mike Ark tonight.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is.
Yeah. So much to learn.
What's
So
it
much-
about?
Let's see. After spending 7 years in the fitness industry, Mike Ark started Loud Rumor in November 2009. Since then, his agency has grown to 45 plus employees and over 1,500 fitness studios served with one mission: help fitness studios increase memberships. So
Interesting to hear how that's going now.
I know.
Yeah, will be interesting. But
Yeah, because a lot of places I know, shut down or are doing, the online thing, even that, or very, very small scale.
yeah.
I always love to see how people get so creative in hard times
Yeah.
and how they pivot. It's just unbelievable.
I love it. That's part of what I do for work, and being with people as they open themselves up to, this isn't working. If they will, not everybody will. Some people just go say, up, it won't work. I'm dead. I'm gone.
Yeah.
But if you do open your minds, like I was talking about today, that mindset, so other things can come in,
Mm-hmm.
open up for expansion. It's just like,
Well, you look at restaurants with COVID, right? It was like some
Yeah.
of, oh my God, we're ruined. We have to close. Other ones were like takeout, delivery, or whatever. Like they just adapted more money because they don't have to maintain a room and staff and whatever.
Right.
Yeah, definitely got to be creative and willing. I mean, obviously these people who curled up and died, somewhere, some part of them wanted that. Right? So that's what happened.
yeah, I love that Jack Canfield thing where he says 100% of what happens in your life, you are responsible.
Oof.
Mm.
100%.
Yeah.
Walk around for one day and say that to every person you meet and see what reaction you get. Most people will be like, what the fuck are you talking about?
I know.
I mean, it's true though. I mean, it's in your face, but it's true, right? I mean, if something is, we're victiming, we're accepting it, right? And I'm part of, I mean, it's true for me too. I mean, but if we don't have enough money, we're accepting that, we're creating that.
Mhm.
What part are we wanting? What part are we're all, well, it's 100% us. It's not, I mean, and I love the example that he gives about, like, you could say, well, like golfers will say, well, that was the course all messed up. That course was this, or that course was that, but then you have like Arnold Palmer that played on the same course and, whatever, made the lowest score or whatever. So it's not the condition, it's your
Yeah.
response.
Yeah, yeah.
But it takes awareness to realize that you have power over it, because most people don't they're just like, well, that's the card I was dealt and that's just how my life is, and they don't have any kind of awareness.
Well, that's the top 5%. I mean, that's what we were talking about today. I mean, most people aren't even aware that they can control their thoughts. They're in reactivity mode to their entire world and everything that happens. Not
Mhm.
even
And even if you are aware, it's hard to do all the time. It's hard to be like fully aware of your thoughts and to be like, okay, here I go.
Oh, sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's why we get aware about where we are and, with 2020 and, all that stuff. So we can at least like make decisions about, this is, I'm keeping, this is, I'm going,
Mm.
Yeah.
Paula,
Yeah.
I don't know if this is a good time to ask this, but what is your opinion? And I'll ask the question, you can say you won't answer it, but what is your opinion about having debt? Like unhealthy debt, not like a mortgage for a house or a car loan, like unhealthy debt, like credit card debt and stuff. What would you suggest? What do you talk to people about that?
Yeah. So where I land on that is everybody, well, first of all, debt is usually a fear-based reaction, right? So, the fact that I have credit cards and I have all this stuff and whatever is because I've been living in fear and lack, right? So that's the first thing, getting the money to pay it off, right? would be the response. And the other part is also getting into the lack mode of fear of I'll never pay it off. I'll never be, instead of looking at as a fact and actually as money being your friend, that this is part of the story that was good for me because I could not have afforded to buy that car that I really needed. You guys may know my story about driving around in a car that farted out, died literally every 3 miles. And I, trying to drive back from the airport and my car dying and I had no money and nothing else to do. And, and I went after that and bought a car and I financed it. I did not have a check in my checkbook to be able to give $1,700 or $17,000 at that time for the car. And so it was a gift from the universe that I could drive this and that I was allowed to take this vehicle. And it provides me transportation, provides safety for my son, security for me, with the promise that I'm going to give a little bit back and thank. I mean, so many people get so concerned about, I have some, and forget to think about the gift that you're receiving, the trust that you received, the security that you received when you were able to take that debt, right? And so
Yeah.
there's sort of instead of being mad about it and scared about it, getting into the relationship with money in terms of being happy and thankful. Thank you, money. Thank you that I had this in advance. Thank you that I even have my lights and that I can pay them later. And sometimes when I can't pay it, the lights still stay on, right? I mean, so some of that is like changing your mindset about what is the meaning of debt. And it's not that you're bad or the situation's awful. And when you change your situation, you change the outcome. I mean, you change your perspective, you change the outcome. So changing the relationship with that debt, And also knowing that it's not black and white, that you can, every month say, thank you, thank you, thank you. And I'm going to give you this much. And I'm thankful that I got to use my car in advance and I'm giving you this amount. I'm still thankful that I now, even today, I don't write a check for $15,000 that I owe on that car. I pay the amount every month and continue to have the car and drive it and whatever. So getting in a thankful mode with debt. And the next thing I would say about that, that I do say about that quite often, is you also have to think about balance and check in with your gut, with what your balance, the balance of your life and what you feel comfortable with, right? And so different people have different needs to feel secure, versus, whatever. And so, I'm going to say one more thing after this too, but, so different people have different, and so you've got to check in yourself about, am I feeling out of balance with my wholeness, with the universe in terms of these dollars that I owe, right? And then that becomes something that you get stressed about and that you get concerned about, and that gives you fear because you're out of balance. And so that kind of relationship with debt is either, let's fix the balance, let's fix the acceptance, let's fix the resistance, because you may not be able to pay it off right away. But if you keep fretting about it and you keep obsessing about it and you keep being mad about it and you keep in fear about it, it's going to go worse and worse and worse. So we got to get it back into an abundance model. Does that answer your question?
Oh, yeah. Big
Okay.
time. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
There's certainly times in my life where I've had tons and tons and tons of debt. And, for me, the fear makes it worse. And it makes me not able to receive, and it makes me not able to be in a friendship mode with money. And so then it's more and more likely that everything's going to crash.
So how do you change that when you're like in a, let's say you're in a really bad spot? How do you get out of that fear mindset to start being more in more of a receptive mindset?
The first thing is to look at the fact that you have received all of this debt and you've received it as a gift. And to be like evaluating what all you've been able to do to live because you have that, and to get thankful that I've lived on credit cards before. Didn't have income, and I've lived on credit cards, and hellfire was I thankful that I had that credit card, right? And what a lot of this message is about is what the messages from other people and what we think other people think about us, and what we are expecting that other people, even if we lost everything, what would other people say? So a lot of this is not about actually the money or the debt. It's about being concerned about what other people think. So if you can also get in the mode and listen to the story that you're telling, for one, I have this beach house, and last year it was destroyed by a renter. And I put like $70,000 money into renovating it. And there was a point in time where I was like, I might lose this house. I don't have the kind of money to pay the mortgage payment plus fix it, blah, 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 blah. And then what was going through my mind is, oh my God, what will they say if I lose this house? What will my mom say? What will, what would, people in Biggs think? Because here I am, this coach. And it was all that story and that fear centered around not so much me being safe, it being okay, the money, whatever. It was what other people would think. So the first thing I would say is get evaluative of, am I putting messages upon you're a loser, you can't make this work, you made bad decisions, da 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 da. And if those are the stories that you're coming up with, then have those reframed. Redo it with a coach. You're going to need to get somebody else in your life to help you, because somebody has to help you hit the Control Alt Delete. Then the second thing is get really thankful about the benefit of how you are provided security, you're provided for, this is taking care of you. At a time where maybe you didn't have either the trust to go and earn the money, the feeling about yourself that you were good enough, but the universe still took care of you. You were still able to access this stability, if you will, this underpinning. I remember one time I know we got to go. I'm talking too much, but this is my stuff. So you asked the question. I remember one time I had a bag of quarters in my car, and I was counting quarters to be able to get gas. I didn't have money to buy food. I didn't have money to whatever. And I was like, oh hell, right? And I remember like at that time, just surrendering. Like I just had this like, well, who else I move to? What else, who would give, let me find a job, just surrendering and like totally like no longer was I like gripped in it, not sleeping. I was just surrendering, just like, well, okay. I got people in my life that love me enough to let me sleep on their couch. Let me list the people. That gives me about 8 weeks. I can find a job. I kind of did that. And then I went out of, once you surrender, it's so amazing what happens so many times. Literally, this was the same day. And I went and I got on my computer and whatever. And I had this offer from the credit card processing company that processes payments to give me a sum of money. And it was like $10,000. And it was a loan, but it was, something that I could live with, something that was going to give me stability while I waited to get clients and worked on that and blah, blah, blah. And I took it and I was like, I don't care if I have to pay this back. This is security right now, right today. And there's so many times that that's in front of us, but we get all involved in well, they would say I'm a loser because I took another loan and how could I have this much more debt coming up? But man, that provided me security. And yes, I paid it back, and no, it wasn't always pleasant. I didn't want to make those payments, and I'd rather have the money in my pocket and all that stuff. But when those payments were coming, I was like, okay, this was what and then I was proud because it was like this big sum. It was a big sum of money. And then I was like, it's dwindling, and then it was, and then it's gone. Like most of my debt, and I've been in overwhelming debt, after my divorce and all that kind of stuff. Most of it's gone. And so not being in the either or state of this is bad and I got to get out of it. And a lot of that's because of what we're told. And then also getting into the appreciative, this is giving me security. This allowed me to live when I needed to. I was making thank you, universe, making the best decision that I could at the time. I wasn't making mistakes. I was living my life. I was doing, and I'm building. And then also looking forward to, I'm feeling better about myself. I know things are getting better. I'm starting to make money, blah, 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 blah. This is my plan for how I feel in balance about it. I can pay this much to this one, this much to this one, or not pay this one and still be okay. That not paying one of them is still okay if you've got to live. It's still okay. It's all just the message of what your banker's going to think about you, what your mommy's going to think about you, but if you can't pay it and you're going to need to be secure and you've got to take care of it, then okay. It's okay. It's just a currency. And I can tell you when I got my divorce and my husband didn't pay any bills for months and months and months while I was in Guatemala and had no knowledge of it, and then took the money from the beach house that was being rented and spent all that. And I came home and everything, I was losing my house and everything was collapsing. My credit was like, wonk, like wonk, like zero, like big red flags if you even pulled it up, and I knew that. And so I just, Okay, we're not using it. We don't have any. And it's changed. It changed too, right? Over time, it got better. And over time, I just kept doing the thing and doing my healing and being in relationship with money and being in receipt of that. And thank you, thank you, thank you, and healed and did the next thing and didn't expect it overnight and didn't get mad. Sometimes I got mad, but didn't got in a better place about receiving and money in that whole cycle of in and out, money in, money out, money in, money out, and let that fear go and let all that judgment go. I know Gail's going to love me even if I lose my beach house. You guys will still love me. I probably could go to Canada and sleep on your couch. I mean, so getting out of that story, right? Of,
Yeah.
what will they think is really a big one. And that will change everything.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. That's great. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Yeah. Hmm.
All right. Well, I guess we got to go to our next appointment, don't we? We'll see how long my patience lasts. This guy better be good. I don't want him to be talking about gyms.
Well, I'll be interested to hear.
At
Well,
2:30.
what he's going to talk about is marketing. And sometimes when I get in those conversations, I don't know about you guys, but I get very comparative and I feel like less than, and so I balance that too. It's like when I start getting that I can go down a bad road. And so I feel like that's like sort of my inner self or my inner being saying, okay,
Yeah.
you can learn what you learn, but if you get it where you're like, I can never know this, I could never do that, I suck.
You must take that word out of your vocabulary.
I'm telling you, I told my coach this. Now that I'm hearing this word, it's amazing how often it really is in my head.
Wow.
Once I'm tuning in.
I was walking with my sister just before, which is why I was late on the call. I lost track of time. But so I was saying the thing about how you said exactly that you've been saying to yourself, I suck. And we're talking about you rock. And so she goes, only a 2-letter difference. Just tell her to substitute the S for an R-O. And I'm like, well, that's true.
I love her. Don't tell me she doesn't have good mindset.
She
That's
does.
great.
Awesome.
All right, guys.
All right.
Thank
See you
you.
tomorrow.
Bye. See you tomorrow.
Have a good night. All right.
Bye. Thank you,
Bye.
Paula.
Bye. Thank you.